I recently got done mixing a song for my friend Al Capone, which he was going to get played on a radio station in Memphis. But 2 days ago, he called me saying that they'd had some rough mixes of his and liked this other song and started playing it that night. And he didn't like the mix. It was just a rough mix. So he called me up in a kind of a panic, asking me like, can you mix this? And I was like, of course, man, send the files over. So I mixed it yesterday, and this video are some highlights from me mixing that song. I hope you enjoy it. On Al's stuff here, what I chose was using this Neve Mic Pre EQ. I just like the way it sounds on his voice. He's so thick, and I wanted some nice top end on it. I ran that into my Secret Weapon plugin right here, is the channel strip. And the reason I like this thing, I'm actually not really doing any EQ there. I just like the compressor on this thing. It kind of smooths it out really nicely. And then I run that into what I call my hype compressor. And on this case, I'm using this CLA 76. Here's what I got. Here it is with nothing.
I was on deck. I was up high. Then I fell flat. I was got up.
Neve.
Didn't give a fuck. Hated or love it. I'm back up to back. Dealt with the
Then
hate.
I add
Dealt
this.
with the fake. No, I can't let that shit threw me off track.
Smooths
but I
it
can't
out.
think about what these
And that thing actually sounds like it's EQing it a little bit. It's just got a sound to it.
I was on this. I was on that. I was up high.
Now
Then I
I'm
fell
going to
flat.
add my
I was
hype
got
compressor.
Up. Didn't give a fuck. Hated or love it. I'm back up to back. Dealt with the hate. Dealt with the fake. No, I can't let that shit threw me off track. But I can't think about what these hoes like. Get in my zone.
It does this weird thing where it actually brings up some of the room sound and the back ends of its words. I'm totally hyping his vocals on this. And then I add in the Pro Tools Lo-Fi, which I love.
I'm back up to back. Dealt with the hate. Dealt with the fake. No, I can't let that shit threw me off track. But I can't think about what these hoes like. Get in my zone and I'm on the attack. Bust through the walls.
And then I just barely tapped the limiter.
Holding my balls. I want it all. It's overdue. Interest is building. I'm here to withdraw. Fuck what you heard. Fuck what you thought. All of the
And then, of
rumors,
course,
I'm
at the
taking it
end,
off.
a de-esser.
Bust through the walls. Guts in the gall. Standing up tall. Holding my balls.
Another compressor I'll use as a hype compressor would be this one right here.
I'm different from the rest and never fit in. I move how
This Matic compressor. It's like a really high ratio, kind of a, short attack, super fast release. When I'm mixing a rhythm section, I like to pan the different rhythmical elements left and right a little bit, but it doesn't always have to be a drum or a hi-hat or a shaker or something like that. Sometimes it's a different instrument. And it was a good thing in this song because there wasn't anything besides just a hi-hat. I found this guitar right here that's doing this. But it's getting a little lost in there because it's a darker sound, so I wanted to bring out the pick and the pop. And I did that by bringing up this EQ. Wanted to go for the picky sound first. And then I wanted to get the pop, which is in the lower end. That thing. Right? Then I bring it back a little bit. Next, I needed a little bit more attack. So I added a compressor. Hitting it kind of hard. But then it was like, okay, that little bump that comes out once in a while is a little bit loud. So I went ahead and put a trim plugin on it and automated it down on those notes. So here it is by itself. Here it is without the plugins. Back on. And it's interesting because it's like, you can hear the difference, but it's like, yeah, it's a little different, but in the mix, it's even more. Here it is without it. Then back on. It's amazing what those kind of tweaks can do for a mix. And it's another way you can make your rhythm section just really wide and huge and interesting sounding. And yes, distortion is my friend. For instance, one of my favorite plugins is this right here. I needed to make this Wurlitzer pop a little bit more. Let me solo it up for you. Without it. Now back in. And you can really hear the distortion when it's soloed up, but in the mix, it sounds pretty cool. Another issue I was having is that a lot of the sounds in this mix are in mono, and my stereo field was getting kind of crowded. So what I ended up doing was adding stereo chorus to the Wurlitzer. I mean, it does this amazing thing where it brings it out. It actually makes it seem a little bit louder, which is cool because it's on the left and right and not competing with anything else. It actually allows me to bring down the keyboard a little bit, which is always a sign that you have a good sound. One thing that I'm doing all the time is keeping an eye on what's going on with my master faders. As you can see right here, I've got an instrument master and a vocal master and my main master. And in the old days, I used to never mix with things on the master bus too early in the mix. I would kind of wait later and kind of mix without it, but things are very different nowadays. So I make sure from the get-go, as I showed you, that I put that stuff on first, but you got to constantly monitor it. I've got 2 monitors. This stuff is normally up on another monitor, and I can constantly see it. So I've kind of got it always set up like this. My other monitor, that's my instrument compressor, my vocal compressor, and then I'm also looking at my main compressor, which is here. So I can constantly keep an eye on how much. And like I said, sometimes I might be up like this, hitting a little bit more, and my limiter. So as you're working, you've got to keep a constant eye on what's going on with your master buses. Don't let it get away from you because you start fooling yourself and thinking something else is going on and you realize I'm just killing the compressor. Vocals are one of the most dynamic things you're going to have to deal with in a mix, which is why I often use a series of compressors and limiters to level out the vocals and make all the words intelligible. So if you got something like this where there's huge differences between the loud words and the quiet words, it can smooth it out a lot like this.
I want it all, it's overdue. Interest is building, I'm here to withdraw. Fuck what you heard, fuck what you thought. All of the rumors, I'm shaking it off. I'ma do me, I'ma stay free.
It definitely helps, but the problem I have with it is that some of these really loud words in there are going to hit the compressors and limiters too hard and maybe distort a little bit, and the quieter words aren't going to get the benefit of the compression that makes it sound exciting. So what I do is I resort to clip gain, which was impossible in the days of yore. So I'll end up doing something like this. Turn up the quiet words, turn down the loud ones.
I want it all, it's overdue. Interest is building, I'm here to withdraw. Fuck what you heard, fuck what you thought. All of the rumors, I'm shaking it off. I'ma do me, I'ma stay free.
Another place where I did this was in the chorus. Check it out right here.
I'm different from the rest, never fit it in. I move how I wanna, you can't box me in.
Sounds pretty good, but the first few words just seemed a little quiet to me and I wanted them to pop a little bit more, so I did this.
I'm different from the rest, never fit it in. I move how I wanna, you can't box me in.
Hey man, I know it's a lot of work, but hey, it's for Al Capone. Come on.
You can't box me in.
Now, one of the last things I needed to do for this mix was to add an echo to the tag at the end of the song. And since I needed to use built-in plugins, I couldn't use any third-party ones. I needed to come up with something cool because the built-in ones don't necessarily sound cool. Oh, I should add in right here that for various reasons that involve production that Al's going to do on his end, I couldn't use a bunch of third-party plugins on this project. So the first thing I did was add a long delay and automate it off his track right here so that as he comes into this tag,
Yeah, it's Easy, oh boy, oh boy.
it comes up on the oh boy. Now I could have just brought it up on the oh boy, but I brought it up a little bit here because it just sounded weird to only come in on that word. So I kind of ramp it up a little bit. What I did was go ahead and add some more EQ to it. So it's like this.
Yeah, it's Easy, oh boy, oh boy.
That's a little funkier, you know, a little kind of mid-rangey sounding, which is kind of cool. But I thought, still not enough for me. I'm going to add some lo-fi to it and distort it a little bit.
Yeah, it's Easy, oh boy, oh boy.
Getting cooler. But I still wanted more out of it, and I couldn't get anything out of it, and I was kind of running out of tools because I can't use these third-party plugins. So I tried something I've never done before, which is kind of neat. I put an extra compressor on there, which I will sometimes compress the delay, but I did something with this which actually gives it a little bit of extra distortion, which is kind of cool. Check this out.
Yeah, it's Easy, oh boy.
Pretty cool. Compressors will cause distortion if you set them up the right way, and it's actually something I do quite a bit. If you got a really fast attack like I got right here, and like I got this release set to the fastest, trust me, it'll distort. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to finish out this video by playing the song because, well, I like it. I hope you all have a good day, and remember, be unique.
I'm different from the rest, I never fit it in. I move how I wanna, you can't box me in. I had to switch it up and set my own trend. Say what you wanna, you can't box me in. Box me in, you can't box me in. Say what you want, you can't box me in.